In between books 25 and 26, Christie's grandmother moves into her house. I think it's kind of strange that happened in between books. You'd think that would have been a Christie book all on its own, or at least a subplot somewhere, but no! Grandma Nanny sneaks into the series when nobody's watching! That's even stranger than the fact that Nanny has the same last name as Christie's crush.
Argofunk Book Review, Argofunk Book Review.
As the cover shows, this is the sad book where Claudia'S grandmother dies. For the past several books, we've had heavy foreshadowing for Mimi's impending death. Most of the time, it's been tragic to see a beloved character get steadily worse. But sometimes, it's been frustrating to see how the girls are so ignorant about Mimi's condition. Mimi has had dementia for over a year now, and Claudia still has no idea what dementia is. Her parents never told her, and she never bothered to ask. So the Babysitters Club members are clueless, and all they can do is throw up their hands in confusion when Mimi does things like yell at Mallory for no reason. Well, technically there is a reason. Mimi is mad that Mallory takes too long at the mall's dressing rooms. 100% true, by the way. I remember all those mall trips in Mallory's last book, but that's not a satisfying reason to see Mallory get chewed out. That's not the only time Mimi is mean. She gets mad at Claudia for making tea wrong, and she asks for a newspaper during a Babysitters Club meeting. Doesn't she know nothing is more important than the Babysitters Club? Claudia throws down the newspaper with a sassy comment, and she feels triumphant for about 5 seconds, until she realizes she's an awful girl who just made her dying grandmother cry. Claudia and Marianne teach an art class in this book, which leads us to today's plot kid, Corey Addison. Corey is a nice girl with horrible parents. The Addisons are always taking their kids to sports, music lessons, and things like that. What awful parents! Trying to make sure their kids are entertained and well-rounded. They should be punished for not letting the kids sit at home and watch TV all day. Maybe Mrs. Addison is trying to avoid Corey, because she always gets dropped off early and picked up late. First time, it's 45 minutes of waiting. The next time, it's a few hours. Corey is so sad, she more or less adopts Claudia as her new mom. Twice, Mimi collapses and gets rushed to the hospital. She seems to get better, but it's just a dead cat bounce. She recovers just enough to give Claudia an inspiring speech about self-confidence. Then she dies in the middle of the night. Claudia feels abandoned and sad and conflicted because she was mean to Mimi earlier. The following Babysitters Club meeting is nothing but the girls sitting in awkward silence for 30 minutes. Reminds me of the time I told my parents about this review series. Chapter 8 is focused on Christy, who misspells Marianne's name in the club notebook. She also insults Marianne behind her back.
Christy told me later that she thought it must be really lonely to be Marianne.
The Babysitters Club! The best friends you'll ever have! Christy cheers everyone up with her usual joke about bras, and she convinces them to share fun stories about Mimi. After that is Mimi's funeral. Claudia blanks out for most of the ceremony, so we hear about it secondhand from Stacy. Stacy writes about it in her New York Babysitter's notebook. Yes, Stacy has one of those, even though she's the only babysitter in New York. I think she's worried what Christy will do to her if she stops. Over the next few weeks, Claudia has a hard time adjusting to her new life without Mimi. 2 things help bring Claudia out of her funk. First, Claudia talks to her parents and sister about her feelings for the first time in the book. Here's a tip to all the parents who may be watching this video. If a child's favorite relative dies, don't wait a few weeks before talking to them about it. Second, inspired by Mimi's confidence, Claudia talks to Corey's mom. Claude tries to be nice, but she more or less chews Mrs. Addison's face off for abandoning her kids all the time. Mrs. Addison starts crying, and from then on out, she follows all of Claudia's orders. Here's a tip for all of the parents who may be watching this video. Don't let a 13-year-old make all the parenting decisions. We end with Claudia making a collage for Mimi, and what's this? All of the kids in the art class make a collage for Mimi too. Aw, how sweet. The end. Post-book follow-up. The first chapter of this book is really good. Claudia and Mimi have special tea together, and it does a great job of setting up who Claudia and the Kishis are. It's a common writer advice to show, don't tell, and this is definitely showing Claudia. It was good. But then Claudia looks out the window and sees Marianne's house, prompting her to ignore Mimi for 7 pages while she lectures us on the entire Babysitters Club. And that's the exact opposite of show, don't tell. Darn it, book! You interrupted a good bit of writing to tell us who all the characters are again! Save the Chapter 2 recap for Chapter 2! My main complaint about this book is that it's kind of scattered. Claudia jumps ahead in time at random intervals, like when she skips a week of Mimi at the hospital so we can get to the next art class. Nothing of interest happened during this time? But that is me trying to come up with reasons to complain about this book. I really don't need to complain about this book because overall it's well done, and it certainly touched a lot of readers. It feels genuine, with a teenager experiencing death for the first time. I would say I liked it better than the book where Christie's dog died, which is a book that touched upon a lot of similar ideas. I give Babysitter's Club number 26, Claudia and the Sad Goodbye, an 8 out of 10.